Don. So I would say, like, with wrestling mindset, that was Don is probably the foundation of wrestling mindset. Also, number one, because we used to talk, like, pretty regularly about, just life, wrestling, just overall, like, we would talk on the phone. That's exactly what we're doing with wrestlers now. We're talking on the phone with these great mindset lessons. But one of the things he always said is definitely don't focus on other people. Don't, your opponents, who cares what moves they do? You focus on your moves. You focus on your style. And then whatever he does, like, if you're focusing on yourself, everything will take care of itself. Never brought up cutting weight. This is something else. He might be one of the few coaches that I've seen that never brought up weight. Like, a lot of times coaches will say, if you lose a match, they'll say, oh, that kid was real big. You got to get down a weight class, right? You're just not in the right weight class. That kid was too big, or you got to get stronger. I never brought up anything about strength, never brought anything about weight class. It was always, you got to get better. You got to get better technique. It's like if you're not winning, if you're not finishing the leg, if you're getting the leg, it's not because you need to get stronger. It's not because you need to get bigger. It's you need to learn how to finish the takedown. And he's right. Now, like, really, more than anything else, like, one of the top mental blocks you see with wrestlers is they're like, this kid was a lot bigger than me. I got to cut weight. And then year round, they're cutting weight. And Anatoly said that. If you remember that, did you remember him saying that? Or maybe it's just saying, like, sideways to me.
I heard it.
While everything else was going on. Anatoly said, you can't cut weight year round. You can't be doing that. And he even said, like, in between the Olympic years or something like that, in between world championships, they would compete. They would go up in weight. So they weren't holding their weight like most people do. And now it's just, even more than when I was competing, there's national tournaments, quote unquote national tournaments for kids, once a month. So, and the dads are always saying, like, yeah, you want to win, you got to get down to this weight. But the dads are, like, copying what the club coaches are saying. See, what happens is the clubs, they have a team. They have a full roster of teams they bring to these, like, national tournaments. And so they need certain people in each weight. So the club coach wants you to be at this weight, even if it means you have to lose 10 or 15 pounds. Like, it's not that big of a deal, not that bad of a cut. You're cutting weight, and cutting weight in the off season is even tougher than in season. In season, you're usually in really good shape. You're doing 2.5 hour practices every day. In the off season, you're probably doing 1.5 hour practices, maybe 4 days a week, 5 days a week. But even then, if the focus is always on put the sweats on and lose weight, you're not focusing on getting better. So what's happening is you're not learning skills. You might be beating people because you're a little bit bigger than them, but then eventually the rubber meets the road, whether it's in, like, the States or the NCAAs, like the nationals, like the national level. You go into college now, people are, like, equally talented. And do you know how to finish the takedown or not? Can you defend your legs or not? Do you know what to do in all these different situations? And then all that time you spend cutting weight, just running, it doesn't even really matter. You know what I mean? So, like, you waste time when you cut weight, in a sense. As you get more experienced, maybe, you can pull some weight here and there, but most kids, that's why a lot of them, they'll lose interest in wrestling by the time they become junior, seniors in high school, even if they had success as freshmen and sophomores, because they spend too much time cutting weight. I had a wrestler from, like, around the area we're driving through right now. He graduated. He probably just graduated either last week or maybe, I guess, coming up in June he'll be graduating. But his freshman year, he cut a truck. His coach wanted to cut a truckload of weight, and I said to him, I asked him, "What's your goal?" He said his goal was to be a 2-time state champ. And the reality was, he was just very far from that at that moment. So you're going to waste your freshman and sophomore year on the treadmill, and you could be getting better. You don't want to being a 2-time state champ. You wound up placing in the States twice. But it's a lot, because instead of cutting all the way down that year, he went up 2 weight classes, and he was able to focus on getting better. Maybe he would have went a round or two further in the regions or in the States his freshman year if he would have cut the weight. But that would have been at the expense of the long term. That makes sense, that, like, if you're cutting that weight, you're not getting better at wrestling. You're beating people, but you're beating people maybe because you're muscling them. And eventually you're going to get to a point where things are going to kind of even out a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's not going to matter. It's not like the cutting weight isn't going to mean anything. Like, are you a good wrestler? That's what it ultimately comes down to when the rubber meets the road. And if you're spending time cutting weight, you're not improving your skills. So that's what we tell the wrestlers: really don't spend too much time cutting weight. In the off season, you should be wrestling more or less what you weigh, because you get burnt out. And then once that goes, I just think, life's just too short to be doing something you don't like doing.
Yeah.
So that was one thing I think my brothers did pretty well, and I think you could really go back to Don and attribute it to him that never spoke about weight or size or undersized, never anything like that. Let's get your technique better.
That's awesome.
Yep. It's that.